The next question, the member for London West.
Thank you very much, Speaker. My question is to the Premier. Speaker, since this government came to office, the post-secondary sector has seen a 12% decline in operating grants. Per-student funding now accounts for less than 1/3 of university operating revenues, by far the lowest in Canada. While the need for investment in student mental health, housing and other supports has never been greater. Last week, the Council of Ontario Universities released a report on the extensive efforts already being made by the sector to find efficiencies and cost savings. Speaker, how can this government possibly think that the funding crisis they created can be magically solved by universities just finding more efficiencies?
And to respond, the Minister of Colleges and Universities.
Mr. Speaker, and thank you to the member for that question. We are taking our time in reviewing the 31 recommendations from the Blue Ribbon Panel's report. We're working very closely with Colleges Ontario and the Council of Universities of Ontario as well. We're putting working groups together to work directly with my ministry on those recommendations. But we launched the Blue Ribbon Panel because we wanted independent and expert-driven advice to help form a practical and principled way forward for the sector. I'll tell you, if we wanted to waste tax dollars, we would have called it the orange or the red panel. But, Speaker, while the Liberals and NDP blew their chance to prioritise students when they held the balance of power, our government will always put the needs and future of students first. Speaker, unlike our Blue Ribbon Panel that focused on a shared approach to supporting post-secondary education in Ontario, the Liberals and NDP previously partnered in blowing through spending, blowing off the needs of students and blowing off their responsibility to the taxpayers of this province. That is why our government struck a Blue Ribbon Panel to ensure that the student experience and access to education is enhanced.
Thank you. Supplementary question.
Speaker, the Council of Ontario Universities warns that changes to tuition in 2019, coupled with the reduced operating grants and rising inflation, have created a perfect storm for the sector. 8 universities are reporting deficits, including Queen's and the University of Waterloo. More universities may face insolvency. At the same time, Speaker, Ontario University tuition fees remain among the highest in Canada. Students should not have to make up for this government's failure to properly fund universities, especially during an affordability crisis. Will this government commit today to a sustainability plan for the sector that increases operating grants without increasing student tuition?
Minister of Colleges and Universities.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And do I need to remind the member, as well as the Liberal caucus as well, that they voted against tuition decreases in 2019? Yes. My ministry has already begun working with institutions 10%. On a financial accountability framework that will allow for early detection of financial challenges and require immediate action to correct bad practices. In order for our sector to be sustainable for the long term, institutions need to take leadership and review their operations from top to bottom. From governance practices, program offerings, day-to-day operations, everything in between, colleges and universities across the province need to become the best possible version of themselves. This is not a change that will happen overnight, but it is one that is necessary so that students, families, and of course the taxpayers can have confidence in every dollar that is being allocated appropriately and with complete transparency.
Thank you.